There we go. And I have my prompts. I got your Bandcamp page ready. Let's fly.
Let's fly.
Another episode. Yeah, let's go. Another episode, If It Be Your Will. Canadian podcast reaching to a Canadian artist. I love these so much. I'm reaching actually across our whole country to Vancouver. I'm joined by Celina from Future Star. And I just, first off, thanks so much for taking me up on this invite. As I had mentioned to you, this your latest record, about It's About Time, has just been growing on me the more I listen to it. So thank you for putting that out into the world.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. It's a really nice thing to say. I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah, that's great. Now I want to know how it all happened. So maybe what we'll do is I'd love to kind of find out, like, where did it start for you, Celina? Like, when was music something that you couldn't escape in life, that it had to be something that you did?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Yeah, I feel like I've always like my mom is a piano teacher. My dad was a also like musician. He played in a band. He played in bands and stuff. Terminal City and Lava Hay. They're sort of like back in the 70s, 80s and stuff like that.
I know Lava Hay.
You know
Amazing.
Lava Hay? Oh
Yeah.
my God! Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's one of the.
I'm older.
Yeah, my dad was the flautist slash slide guitar player. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
what a
yeah.
connection. Wow. That's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
so funny. Not many people, like obviously my age, know who Lava Hay is, but
Right.
and my sister's in one of the videos as a baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's a picture of him
I'll
holding.
check those out.
One of the stories my parents always told me was that when I was a baby, my dad was in with he was basically I threw up on Sarah McLachlan's manager's desk.
Oops.
And that's like one of the stories because anyways, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so music has always been a part of my life. My parents made sure that I did piano lessons growing up, did the whole RCM thing. I played flute as well. And I really fell in love with singing when I was just a kid. I was in like church choir and stuff like that. Not a religious person, but like church is definitely part of, that was part of my story as well.
Yeah.
My church choir teacher was my first vocal teacher. She's like an opera singer and like just like really instilled within me a love of singing and music. And I wanted to be just like her when I grew up, kind of thing. Although a little different, cool. But yes, definitely.
Well, I mean, many people start the church. I mean, as a young kid, I used to sing in the church, not religious. My mom went, so I would go and just sing in the choir because I love to sing. It's a great thing for a 10 to 12-year-old kid you can't start a band, you can't go into bars. So
yeah, exactly. And it's just like you're singing with everyone, you're learning harmonies, you're learning how your own voice sounds. It's such a safe place. I always think about this. I'm like, what is a secular, as it were? Because I feel like what is a secular way that we are all singing together? You know what I mean? And I don't feel like that really exists on like a weekly basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
It's like there's no replacement for that, and that's something that I think about a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big karaoke head, and I love karaoke, but karaoke is usually it's like there's one star. You know what I mean? We're all like watching someone on stage. The thing with choral singing and like singing and hymnal singing and stuff like that is that you're all singing together and you're learning a blend. You're not on stage, so it's not anxiety provoking really. So it's just you're all singing together, and there's something really euphoric about that to me and really important, and that I really mourn the loss of in like secular society, I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. It's a really interesting question you bring up, and I'm just kind of like going through a Rolodex of what are other situations where we get to like sing together, anxiety free, and just go for it.
Yeah,
I was thinking it brought me back to like the 60s when they would have like hippie gatherings and
Yeah,
stuff like
like
that. But
sing-alongs around a fire kind of thing.
yeah,
And like
nowadays, yeah, it's true.
it's hard to find. I feel like we're so focused on like the one person, like the one, like we're all going to a concert and we're singing along, but we're all listening to Ariana Grande or whatever. So and like
Right.
we all want to be like Ariana Grande. No one, there's less happiness in just like the collective. I guess I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. It's
Interesting.
yeah, just things I think about. Yeah, like I've always loved choir. Like I actually went to yeah, love music. Going back to your initial question, always loved music. I actually went to music school after high school. I have a vocal jazz degree.
Wow.
Yeah, so I tried to become a music teacher, but it wasn't for me. So that was my plan though. I was like, I'm going to be a high school vocal jazz ensemble teacher. Like that was my thing, but no longer. It's too stressful.
Right. Yeah, kids nowadays, they are.
Yeah.
It's a different world, really, than the one with that of past that we might have grown up in.
And it's funny because I still work with kids, just not in like a teaching setting. Because I find like something about like we have to like get something done by the end of this year. We have to like do the festival, or we have to do the exam, or we have to. That really stressed me out. So I like working with kids, but in like a more like let's go at your own pace kind of way.
That's right. Where the process is important, not the end result.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you kind of can't avoid that when you're like got all these pressures coming from like family.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyways, so I went to vocal jazz school, love singing.
Yeah.
And then
did you start writing songs in high school, or did that start in university?
So I started, my first band was called Kidnap Kids. It was me. I'm actually meeting up with my friend Allie after this. I can't actually say it. It's a surprise for a friend. So we're doing a little something.
Fun.
Yeah. But yeah, Kidnap Kids was my first band. We started on my 16th birthday, actually, I think.
Wow.
Or 17th birthday? I think 17th birthday.
And were these original compositions for the band?
Yeah. We mostly Allie was the songwriter in that band, but I did write a couple. So I sort of like wet my toes in the water of songwriting. I always because like I grew up like listening to I grew up in an age of like Kimya Dawson and like the Mountain Goats. You know what I mean? Like all these people who are like writing these like incredibly intense, emotional like poetry songs, that are really so expressive. And I always I was like, I want to do, like, I always had this fire under my ass that was like, that is what I want to do. I don't really understand how to get there, but that is what I want to do with music is make people feel or whatever. Cause it's like, that's so important to me. So when I was like, 17 or whatever, it was mostly Allie writing the songs. I would sort of help with the arrangements. And there was a couple times that I would bring songs to the table, but like, I would get so stressed out. I'd be like I was such an anxious kid, and I'm still kind of an anxious adult. No, not lie. But, I was just always I would send her a song and then I'd be like, oh my God, she hates it. Oh my God, it's the worst song I've ever written. Oh my, and like, I was so like in myself, in my ego about it, that it was so hard to like really bring something forward. So I really started writing music when in my second band, True Crush, I was with my friend Maria. And we both played.
In that band, did you come more to the forefront of the writing process? And I
feel like that was where I really started like trying to write music and like feeling comfortable. I don't know. I read like a Linda Berry book where she's like, oh, like just draw a chicken every day. It's okay to make bad art. And that really, really sat with me in this beautiful way where I was like, oh my God, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually good to just do something. You know what I mean? Like, and so like, I just started like being like, okay, I can do this and it can be bad and that's okay. And that really freed me like so much. So when I was writing with True Crush, it was like so much funner in a way, not more fun. Cause like writing, like in Kidnap Kids, it was so much fun. We were young, we were dumb, it was great. But True Crush, I really felt like I was having fun, like kind of on my own terms in a way where I was like, this is what I want to do. And I'm not like squishing all these different parts of myself down because I feel like they're not appropriate or
Right,
like
right.
good enough or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Not that it would have been bad. Like it would have been a safe space, but I wouldn't make it. I couldn't make it safe for myself, if that makes sense.
right, right. And how did you accomplish that? Like, what were some of your processes that you had to do to kind of shed a bit of that anxiety and say, mistakes, no, whatever. I'm going to do this because, like, what was your driving force behind that need to kind of
Yeah.
to be at that front and to write the songs and not to be, afraid what other people thought? I
Yeah.
mean, because that's a process in itself, no?
Yeah. On a lot of it, it was like I was like, this is like just like between almost university over, just about to like start living in the free world.
Mm.
Um, I honestly like, I think it was just like, it was something that needed to happen. It was like a cork popping, you know what I mean? Where like literally,
Right.
I'm not even joking. Like this is something that kind of happens to me sometimes where it's like, I'll read something and it'll just be happen at the right time.
Mm.
And I'll be like, that's how I need to live my life. And I'll just do
Wow.
it.
That's cool.
Like I'm sure there were processes that were occurring underneath the water that I wasn't aware of. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really credit Linda Berry for like giving me permission, as it were, to like just like yeah make bad art. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
when was it that you actually shed the bands and took up Future Star as your moniker and that's what you were going to do? When did all that kind of evolve out of?
That I feel like it was just that I was writing because like True Crush was a band where we both played bass, so I was writing a lot of like songs on the bass, right? And
Mhm.
I don't, and like that was even that in itself was kind of freeing because like I don't really play the bass, but it was just, I was like, this sounds good, this sounds good. It was like I'm just playing, you know what I mean? I'm just like having fun, and then Future Star sort of rose when I because for a long time I didn't really have access to a keyboard or a piano. Like when I first moved out, I didn't really have like an instrument to play on.
Mm.
So that's why I was playing the bass because I had a
Yeah,
bass. I think I
right.
got it from my sister's friend for like $60 or something.
Mm.
Um, but when I graduated jazz school, my roommate and friend and bandmate Marita and our friends like gifted me a keyboard that used to belong to it was a very very sweet gesture because it was like the
That's
keyboard
awesome.
used to belong to Enzio, who used to be in the Kidnap Kids, who was in
Oh, well,
I was it was just like a very like it's a very sentimental object to me.
right.
um and I still have that keyboard. I don't use it anymore for performing, but I still play around on it all the time.
Cool. And was that the gateway into getting that
Yeah,
keyboard? And that's where
and
you
that's kind
started
of when I
writing your
started
own
writing
songs.
more on the keyboard because like
Okay.
I would be I was at this time also I was teaching piano, so I would go to like a studio, and like the one time I would have like access to a keyboard was when I was like at the studio, and I would like in between students I would like kind of work stuff out.
Mm.
But yeah, getting something to play on at home, it was like I started like I like recorded a few songs, and that was like the first iteration of Future Star, which was called Where You've Been, That's Where You're Coming From, which is the first track on my album, actually. But
Okay.
that was the name of my band initially. And there's still a band camp out there for that. And I actually, I think I've uploaded those songs to Future Star now. Possibly. I can't remember. It might be
Mm.
under old bass songs or something. But it's basically, I've recorded like 6 or 7 tracks um, and then I went quiet for a couple years. That was probably like 2012, 2013. I put that out.
Yep.
Um, and then I actually like just took a break from music completely.
Mm.
Um, and that was just like a thing that had to happen. And then probably
Yep.
the Future Star as it is now started really being a thing in like 2015, 2016.
Okay.
Um, because basically I sort of came out of hiding and everyone was like, Celina, play a show, Celina, play a show. So I played a show and I was like, whatever, whatever, I'll just do this. And then for the first two records, like I don't know if you've listened, but like Priorities and Try Hard,
Hmm.
I played with
Hmm.
a drummer. So that's Christopher Ellis, and he approached me after I played a show and was like, and he had recorded True Crush like years and years and years prior, and he's like, Celina, I really want to record you. I really want to record you. Um, and for a long time, I was like, nah, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Like I was feeling really shy and really, I don't know, like I didn't want to do that. But then finally, I was just like, he keeps asking me, why not just do it? Let's just do it. It might be fun, just try doing something. Um, and then that's how Try Hard came out. And that was in 2016, I think, like that. And then we played together for a couple years. Typically it would be either me by myself or I would play full band with him on
Yeah.
drums. Um, but then I think he lived in Marpole and I lived in Burquitlam at the time, which I don't know if you're familiar with the greater Vancouver area. And I didn't drive also, so it would be like every couple weeks or whatever, I'd be like busing all the way to Marpole from Burquitlam. And it just
Okay.
got to the point, and I was also going to school at the time.
Mm.
So I was just like,
Mm.
I can't like I can't like manage all this right now. So
Right.
I was like,
Right.
I basically like gently like kind of was like, I don't think we can play together anymore. I'm sorry. I need to just do this by
Mm.
myself. Like I need to pare down basically.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah. So I pared down and ever since then it's just been me basically. And I think when I played
Mm.
Sled Island in like 2018, I think I
Hmm.
brought some other drummers along. That was fun. But
That's a great festival, eh?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
it is. Yeah.
one of the top Canadian
It's fantastic. They really get,
fests. Yeah,
yeah, they get like a pretty incredible talent coming up to there.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me, Selena, a little bit about like what were your great lessons that you learned from your jazz training that you still, use today or still informs your writing. Like, what were some of those lessons you got from that jazz degree?
I feel like the thing that really sticks with me is the ear training.
Hmm.
Honestly, ear training and sight reading, because it's like it forces you to really like hear where things are going and create
Right.
meaning out of like a weird click, because it's like, right, basically she like our teacher would be like, okay, so like you're gonna listen to like a Bill Frisell track and you need to transcribe the bass line. And so like just like doing that really deep listening of like, what is that note and where is it going and why is it going there and what makes sense for it to go if I can't really hear it? Where do I think it's gonna go?
Wow.
And so that is like, to me, because when I sit down and write, I am basically I treat it as a game of listening. I treat it as like I'm hitting a note. Where's that note going? Where does the note want to go? Where's the note want to resolve? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like, what am I hearing? I think a lot about, yeah, what am I hearing? What am I listening for? And so that's something that really sticks with me. I really think that that's the most valuable thing that happened from my jazz degree. That and
That's
like,
really cool.
yeah, and like learning where, like singing in jazz choir. I was part of Nightcap, which was like the elite vocal group. Um, shout out to Réjean Marois.
Right
Um,
on.
yeah, it just, I feel like learning, like when you're singing one note in a chord, you really think about what that chord sounds like because you have to
Yes.
hear like the sharp four of the, you know, dominant seven
Mm-hmm.
sharp 11 chord, right? So it's like when you're sitting there, you have to be able to hear it. You can't sing something like that without being able to hear it.
Right.
And so it's just like this. I really think it's like, if I was to give any advice, I'd be like, man, like listen for the note in between, listen
Mm.
to where it's going, listen to like the through line
Yeah.
between the non-melody notes. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's where like magic happens. That's where
That's
you learn
cool.
what you like to hear, like what
Yeah,
makes
for
the magic
sure.
chord, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, totally makes sense. That's
Yeah.
that's a really cool kind of tip for people to hear as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, pay attention and really, and I guess my next question would be is, so how does the song start for you? do you come up with a line or a series of notes that just kind of work together and you work from that, or does it come from a lyric or a repeated verse, or like how do songs come to be for you?
Um, Typically, I'll often things start with lyrics and melody.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna I'll get like an earworm or whatever, and I'll be like, that sounds like this lyric, or like this sound that like these are the words that are repeating in my head, kind of thing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I'll write it in my phone, and I have this system where I write numbers because I don't do voice notes because I just I usually it's like I'm somewhere where I can't like just sing into my phone. You know what I mean? Like I'll be at
Sure.
work or
Sure.
something on a break or like
Yeah.
um. But yeah, I'll do the system where it's like, you know, it'll be like 1 1 3 5 4 2 3, so you know what I mean, that kind of thing, where it's like the tones.
Right.
I know what the numbers mean. It's like a shorthand music notation.
Cool.
I'll start with a melody and usually a lyric or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll take it to the keyboard when I have time.
Cool. Cool.
Short answer, yeah.
And can you tell when you've hit upon something, as opposed to, all right, I'll archive this and maybe if I need it down the road, I have it? Or like, do you know when a song is going to make it to tape?
I would hard answer, soft answer. Basically no. I kind of just do. I record. I usually like a lot of my recordings on Bandcamp. But this is weird. Like things are changing for me. I will say that
Okay.
because like before it would be like, you know, sorry, I'm just trying to like I would just record everything that I came up with and put it on Bandcamp like that night at like 11 p.m. I'd be like, boom, I need dopamine. Come get me. You know what I mean? Listen to my song. Uh, but now I have like a label and stuff, so I have to think about releasing things a little harder.
Right? It's no longer DIY, really, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. No,
DIY.
like I know I like it's so funny because like for so long I was like I'm like DIY, I still describe myself as DIY, but I'm like I'm not really DIYing. I'm doing it together. You know what I mean? Like I've got money coming in now. People helping
Right.
me look for things so I can pay my friends to do things for me. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's very
Right.
strange. It's very strange, but really nice. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I
How,
don't have to work as much overtime. You know what I mean? Like.
yeah, for sure. It's great to have that support, I imagine,
It
too. But
is. It's when
again, at the
and like
same
just like
time, you can't just throw things out anymore.
exactly.
Like,
No, I
right,
have to like rein it in a little bit, you know? Like
right, right.
but to go back to your question, do I know when something is like good basically? I feel like it's good when I like it. That's
Hmm.
my barometer. It's
Right.
like I have a couple songs where I'm like where that I haven't released or whatever or like and I'm like I need to work on that verse or like, you know, I don't like that verse or you know, that one, like, it's just kind of like, it's got a really good this bit, but that bit I'm not crazy about. So I kind of have to
Hmm.
go back to it. And I'm really bad at
Okay.
going back to things. And because it's just like, I'm like a little, I'm very like, I'm very, for the most part, I'm first thought, best thought.
Hmm.
Um, but so it's hard for me to go back to things. It's really hard for me to go
Okay.
back to things that weren't just good the first time.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But
How did
yeah.
how did your relationship with Mint Records start? Like, what? How did that relationship begin?
Well, with this album, it was with this album.
Yep.
It was just a past Christmas, and I was planning on like sort of doing a different release. Um, and I had like planned all like I had planned like the release party already. Like I was like this is done and dusted. Like we're good to go. Like I planned my release party like 6 or 7 months in advance, and I
Okay.
invited non-law to play in like November or December for July. Um, and non-law is on the Mint Records roster. So I think Dan mentioned to Elise from Mint that I
Hmm.
was releasing a record or whatever. And also like I'm tweeting all the time. I was probably like, "Law, this record's sounding so good." Um, and so Elise literally Facebook messengered me and was like, "Hey, how would you feel about releasing on Mint?" And I was just like, my like jaw dropped. Like I remember I was just like, this is so, I was like, I'm not, what are you talking about? Like I just didn't really
Oh,
believe it. Like it took
yeah.
a very long time for me to be like, no, I think this is actually something they want to do and are planning on doing. Um, so yeah, it was really fast, I would say. Like it was,
That's
they,
cool.
like she reached out to me in like December, and I think by like January or February we had like locked it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What's the difference between like a, a record being released through a label versus you just releasing I mean, you just releasing on your own? What would you say the biggest differences are?
well, my DJ of Love. So DJ of Love, I did release on a label. It was Kingfisher Blues, but that was very different
Right. Right.
from Mint.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tim just works differently than Elise and Randy do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's I would say I like when I'm really it's so funny. Basically, it's just like you always have someone in the back of your mind being like, I need to check in with them. I need to make sure
Hmm.
this is okay to do. And it's like,
Okay.
and like that's I feel like the trade off, because you can't just do what you want to do. You can't
Right.
just like, like I don't know.
You can't write a song just fuck 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 fuck
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
fuck.
exactly. Yeah. You can't, like you got to kind of think about it
Bandcamp.
a little bit more. I will
Right.
say
Right.
both Kingfisher Blues and Mint were just very much like, do you. We trust the
Hmm.
artist, which is like extremely refreshing and like not what you expect out of like a label, as it were.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like I've had really blessed and lucky experiences with labels in that um yeah, they've let me kind of do most for the most part do it's and once again it's mostly me being like I should check in with them. I need to, I'm a good worker, you know what I mean? Like
Right. Right. Absolutely. Well, and
like
Mint's a great record label,
it
right? I mean, they've
is.
had
It
some
is.
amazing artists throughout the,
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I
decades, really.
It's so funny because it's like for me, like growing up in Vancouver, like Mint was like I was always like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I think I sent priorities to them actually. Like I sent them a little
Okay.
CDR being like, do you want to release this? Like probably like a week before I ended up releasing it. Like Priorities and Try Hard I released just totally on my own. I like, I paid for the tapes. I like sent it out and oh, I'm trying to remember. I might have done Pretzel Records, which is like my friend Nikki's label, but it's very DIY.
Right.
It was just me doing it and then I put Pretzel Records on the tape kind of
Cool.
thing.
That's wicked. That's wicked. Now,
Yeah.
Celina, what about this? Okay, so this record's been out, your latest.
Hmm.
It's About Time. Came out July 5th of in this summer of 2024.
Hmm.
You've had a little distance now, like with
Yeah.
the release, and it's been out there, and there's been reviews. I've read a few. I mean, they're very glowing, the ones that I've read. How do you see this record now with that a bit of distance? When you listen to it, what is it evoking you?
I still like it. It's still fun to perform. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like I've been listening to like I have to remind myself it's like I've been listening to this record for like the last year or whatever.
Right, right.
Everyone else has only had like a month with it. Like I've had a lot of time with it. And like the fact is I'm like still like it, still think it's
Cool.
good.
Right
So
on.
proud of it, extremely proud of myself. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, like it to me it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was just like sort of it's really a process album. Like I wrote this album or like the entire time I was like making this album, my dad was going through chemo. So it's
Mm,
really to me like when I think about this record, I'm like this is like I think about like bringing him songs and being like check this
mm,
out, see what Andromeda's done to this time, you know what I mean? And so it's like for
cool.
me it holds all these memories and it holds all these
Right.
really sacred like important memories of my dad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's
That's
like
really cool.
yeah, it's just like to me it's I'm never gonna not like this record,
Right.
it's everything in it reminds me of something
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
precious. Yeah.
You had mentioned too before, and it's like still flooding in my head about the reference of when you were growing up, you wanted to be like Kimia or sound like and the Mountain Goats and it that connection is there. like
Yeah.
in really glowing terms. I can see it and feel it. And it was I didn't make that connection until you said it, but now I'm like, yes. So I got to go listen to it all over again.
Yeah.
Because it is a powerful record, but it still has playfulness in it. Even though you're saying like it has hard memories for you, I'm sure, but for a listener, it evokes a little bit of that challenge that you're going through, but also kind of the joy of life, and that we have to
Yeah.
keep our eye on that as well as we go through all of these trying times.
Absolutely.
Life
Yeah.
is still pretty joyful.
Exactly. No, and then that to me. It's like I don't think of them as hard memories. I think of them as like
Hmm.
I think of them as like to me. It's like any memory I have of my
Right.
dad. Like it's a joyful
Right.
memory. You know. Oh, sorry, I'm
Hmm.
getting emotional. But
No, it's good.
yeah.
I know. I hear you. I lost my dad too about 6, 7 years ago to the big C as well. So
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
And I think that some of that connection that I was talking to you at the start is starting to connect with that as well. I don't want to
Yeah.
get emotional too, but
Yeah. I know, right?
it's
It's
but there's
hard not
positive
to.
memories. I like when I cry about dad, I'm like the pain's gone and it's just all these joyful memories I have now.
Yeah, and
That are
it's like
really, yeah.
no, yeah, it's not like when I cry, it's not. It's just like oh, it sucks that he's not here anymore. You know, like I
Yeah,
feel so
yeah, I
lucky.
hear you.
I feel so lucky. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Celina, this has been a real treat. I really thank you for carving a bit of time out to talk. Your words are so amazing. Your stories, how you come to this stage in life. I just wish you all the best and all the success in the world.
Thank you so
Excellent
much.
record, people. You guys got to go out and buy this record, go and see her play, and support the next one that comes out. I'm sure that it will just be another notch up. So continue what you're doing because it's working really well.
Thank you
All
so
of
much.
your life experiences have led you to this moment, and there's a gazillion more to happen. So cherish them for sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, you take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. All right,
Cheers.
take care. Cool.
Build a castle made of sand and live inside the towers. Make a flower bed, lie down in a bed of flowers. Soft and small, imaginary. Let's ignore the ordinary. Leaking through the window, particles and waves of light. Cup your hands and carry it and save it for tonight. Soft and small, imaginary. Let's ignore the ordinary. Looking at the world through a pocket mirror. All these tiny things, I can see how close we are.